Welcome. This is the sun today for the 6th of December 2023. Let's start with discussing the sunspots. That's this top frame here. And since yesterday, the sunspot number has increased slightly to 145. Sunspot area, shown here on the right, is at 800 millionths. That's a significant increase over yesterday's number. And let's take a look at what the sun was like a month ago. If you go back one solar rotation to look at the equivalent longitudes, there has been a large increase in the number of sunspots on the sun. Next, let's take a look at the X-ray flux from the NOAA GOES satellite. This is shown a decrease in the overall background of X-ray flux, but we've had a huge number of flares, as you can see. C flares galore. In fact, it counted up at 22. We also had a couple of M flares. The M1 flare, interestingly enough, late yesterday was in fact two M flares. On this scale, it doesn't show them. There was an M1 flare, and about 10 minutes later, there was another M1 flare. And in this plot, they've just merged into one. So we've had three M flares in just a period of about 12 hours. This activity won't necessarily go on forever, especially if the X-ray background is dropping. So we'll see what happens in the next few hours. Next, we'll take a look at the geospace conditions as a result of all this solar activity. That's this third frame down here. And this is the KP index, which is a measure of geomagnetic activity. And it's been remarkably stable for the last 24 hours, varying just between 2 and 3. Now that's not particularly active, which is surprising because the solar wind speeds have been very high. They were 660 at the start of the day. They have moderated a bit down to 590 kilometers per second. So why don't we have a geomagnetic storm going on? Well, BZ, the vertical component of the interplanetary magnetic field, has remained positive, which means it's aligned in the same direction as the Earth's magnetic field. So the two can't reconnect and cause a geomagnetic storm. If it turns negative, we would have had a fairly significant geomagnetic storm. Let's take a look at the sunspots and corona. This is the fourth frame over here on the right. The central image here is a sunspot image from the SDO HMI instrument. I've marked on that all the regions that are numbered by NOAA with a black circle, and regions that I've identified that are sunspots either growing or disappearing with white circles. Those are the new cycle things. Some of them may be numbered by tomorrow, some of them will probably have disappeared. We have growth in region 3507. It's been developing some satellite spots, so that may continue. We're about to lose 3501 and 3503 over the west limb, so sunspot numbers may go down a bit. We have the complex down in the southwest, 3505, 8, 10, and 11, and those have been quite active. They produced a C8 flare yesterday. Overall, the sun has produced 22 C flares yesterday and 3 M flares, which is quite an amazing number. That's probably the most busy day we've had so far this cycle. It only produced 3 coronal mass ejections, which is a little surprising. Down in the bottom left-hand corner, we have where the Earth is with respect to the sun. We're at a distance of 0.9856 astronomical units from the sun, so we're closer to the sun, and it is getting closer each day. We will reach our closest approach to the sun in January. Northern hemisphere is tilted 0.4 degrees towards us, so we're seeing the northern polar region slightly more clearly than we're seeing the south. So the big question is, what's going to happen next? And for that, we have to appeal to helioseismology, which can image the far side of the sun. What we have here is the gray area is a magnetogram of the visible disk, and you can see all the regions that we currently have as black and white patches. Black is negative polarity, magnetic field, and white is positive polarity. The east limb is on the left, and the west limb is on the right. The sun rotates from east to west. So of interest are the two areas on the left-hand side of the picture, which show two large sunspot complexes on the far side of the sun. This was taken 2 days ago, so they'll be about 25, 26 degrees closer to the east limb now. So that's it for today. This is a more detailed version of the sun today that I put on Twitter each day, and I hope you enjoyed it. So until next time, stay safe and goodbye.